It really is. I mean, let's quickly touch on young Jude Bellingham. We'll talk about him throughout the show, but I mean, him being unveiled today. By the way, is he injured? Why didn't he do the usual, you know, inner kick-ups? Well, I expected a bit of that. I expected that kind of unveiling. I was almost disappointed.
You cannot be disappointed seeing a player in a whistle looking incredibly smart and dapper. That's what I want.
But there's always pressure on the kick-ups. There's always pressure on the kick-ups, and we didn't know if he can handle the pressure of a couple of kick-ups. I like the way he said, you know what, give me number 5 as well.
Yeah, it's a statement, isn't it?
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know the number 5, it's Zinedine Zidane's former number.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, it doesn't get better than that, does it?
No, and I think if you're Jude Bellingham, like Bellingham speaks and waxes lyrical about his love of Zinedine Zidane. He thinks that Zinedine Zidane was the best player to have ever lived.
Yeah.
And having the opportunity to follow in his footsteps, having the opportunity to play in the Bernabeu, having the opportunity to wear that number 5, it's iconic for him. But it does show you, it gives us a bit of an insight into Jude Bellingham and who he is.
The mindset.
Yeah, he's a fighter, isn't he? You can see the way that, not only the way that he plays football actually, but the way that he approaches the game, the way that he is ready to take on like the pressure of the number 5. Like, we know that when you go to play for Real Madrid, when you go to that club with a huge transfer fee, the fans are on you. There's an expectation, perhaps unlike any other club.
It's crazy. I mean, obviously he came through Birmingham City so young, but 3 years ago he's playing in the Championship for Birmingham City. Here we are, 3 years later, he's going to be playing for the biggest and best club there's ever been in Real Madrid, and he's going to be a centrepiece in it as well.
Yeah.
Honestly,
but he obviously believes in himself so much because he's firstly going to Real Madrid, shows you the belief that he has. Then taking on the number 5 shirt, the most iconic shirt in that club, I think. It's huge. And he obviously believes that he can get into a team that already have Kroos at the club, Modric at the club, Chouameni at the club, Camavinga at the club. He believes that he can get force his way into that midfield, and I believe him.
Indeed. Look, we are going to talk about Jude Bellingham a bit later on in the show, but our chief football correspondent and transfer guru Alex Crook is across all the big stories for us as always, and he has sent in once again a little video message to keep us up to date with all the big stories of the day. Here it is.
Good evening, boys. It may only be day 2 of the transfer window, but already we have our first saga of the summer, with West Ham United rejecting Arsenal's initial offer worth up to £90 million for their captain and England midfielder Declan Rice. Manchester City lurking in the wings, so the Gunners are expected to make an improved bid in rapid speed to get that deal done. On the subject of midfielders, Chelsea stepping up their interest in Brighton's Moises Caicedo, and 2 possible players could be heading in the opposite direction. Brighton still keen to re-sign Levi Colwill, the England under-21 defender, after his loan spell last season, and they had their sights set on Conor Gallagher. Brighton, one of a number of clubs tempted to sign Gallagher this summer. Manchester United face fresh competition from Bayern Munich for the South Korean centre-back Kim Min-jae. At the moment, Bayern in the box seat for that one. Meanwhile, talkSPORT understands Tottenham haven't yet made an offer for James Maddison and Harvey Barnes, despite reports to the contrary. Maddison very much a big target for Ange Postecoglou. Away from the transfer window, Sheikh Yassim growing in confidence that the Qatar bid to buy Manchester United will be accepted, although we've been told this evening that no party is close to being granted exclusivity in that deal. So Jim Ratcliffe and his Ineos group still very much at the table. Day 2, we are very much off and running. This is going to be one heck of a summer.
He's right, isn't it? It's going to be a very busy, very busy summer as well for Mr. Alex Crook, who's going to be up and down the country. We've just got a text in here from Jim saying, how about talking about Villa, Forest, Sheffield United, etc. We might have some interesting news about Sheffield United a bit later on in the show, so make sure you stay tuned, Jim. All right, look, we talked about Jude Bellingham. Let's hear from the young man. Obviously, let's completed his move from Borussia Dortmund to Real Madrid. This is what he had to say.
Thank you everyone in the room and everyone watching online for joining me for the proudest day of my life, the day where I joined the greatest football club in the history of the game. So yeah, thank you very much. There's a lot of people to thank for getting me here to this point, Borussia Dortmund, Birmingham City, the people that work there, but also the bosses here, Mr. President, Uni Calafat, Jose Angel, and of course, most importantly, my family for all the support and making the deal as easy as possible. So thank you very much. And finally, Ala Madrid.
I like it. He's already got the accent down to a T as well. The little accent on the end of his words there. Look, it's a big one, isn't it? It's a massive signing. I do wonder about the pressure only 19. And the reason I said it's not just the pressure as well. I mean, you look at some of the big money signings, and I've got it in front of me, some of the big money signings that have happened to La Liga in recent times. And you can tell me if these have succeeded or not. Philippe Coutinho, 135 million.
No, that was a glaring error, wasn't it?
Ousmane Dembele from Dortmund to Barcelona, 135 million euros, another one.
Yeah, look, there's a lot. No, okay, that one didn't work either.
João Felix.
No,
big money
didn't
as well
work either.
To Atletico Madrid. Antoine Griezmann to Barcelona.
Slightly underwhelming as well.
No, Eden Hazard, Chelsea to Real Madrid.
Yes, again, underwhelming.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, others have. I mean, obviously Jude, we hope, we'll fingers crossed. Gareth Bale, yes. Ronaldo, yes. Neymar to Barcelona, yes. Frank de Jong, still question marks. But you look at all those, and that's the top 10 biggest La Liga signings. You'd have to say 6 or 7 of them have flopped. That's the pressure.
But it doesn't. I don't think this is at all relevant.
Expensive.
It's not at all relevant to Jude Bellingham. It's not at all relevant to the player that he is, or the man that he is, or the way that he conducts himself. Everything that we know about Jude Bellingham suggests that he's ready for the challenge that is Real Madrid. Everything that we learn about him, listening to him in that press conference, looking at the way that he's dressed, being ready to take on that number 5. I guarantee this as well. When you think about who he is, he'll be speaking Spanish very soon. I think he's ready for the biggest stage. We've seen him rise to the challenge, whether it's Borussia Dortmund, whether it's playing for England at World Cups and shining. I think this is a genuine superstar. This is a man who will win a Ballon d'Or in his career. And I think Real Madrid are getting a very good player and a player that is in need of the platform that Real Madrid will give him.
I wonder how he will handle maybe not coming in and starting straight away. It's happened with Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Obviously, look, Toni Kroos is still there. Luka Modric is still there. And you have to think there will be a kind of an ushering out of those before he comes in and is a guaranteed starter. I do wonder, he'll get his playing time because they're going to play loads of games. Obviously, they go deep into Europe. But I do wonder if it might be for the first 4 or 5 months of the season, him coming off the bench, as opposed to obviously what he's done for Dortmund and for Birmingham, where he's a guaranteed starter.
Yeah, he won't have a team built around him anymore. That doesn't happen when you're at a club the size of Real Madrid. But everything that we know about Jude Bellingham suggests that he's ready for this. And it's a challenge that he needs. I think he'd outgrown Borussia Dortmund. He was ready for something else. He was ready for a bigger stage and a bigger platform. And I am genuinely so excited to see him play in there. Like, this is so exciting. Like, think about how young Jude Bellingham is. He is 19 years old. We're talking about a 19-year-old English kid from Stourbridge, a 19-year-old English kid who's gone over to Real Madrid for the best part of 100 million quid and is about to be at the epicentre of their midfield, their new look midfield in a new look Bernabeu. This is just wonderful news, not only for him, but for Gareth Southgate and England fans as well.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about the England. I mean, look, you've got Declan Rice potentially on a big money move to maybe Arsenal, which means Champions League football. Obviously, young Jude Bellingham, Trent potentially going in the midfield. John Stones looks like he's started to find another position as well. Gareth's got riches there. He's got riches. We're going to speak to Adrian Durham a bit later. Obviously, big game. I say big game. There are big games for England, aren't they? It's Malta in a European qualifier. Adrian Durham's going to join us. It'll be interesting to get his take on what this means for Gareth with Jude Bellingham and this big money move. Potentially, I mean, a lot of people have spoken about Declan Rice getting the armband when Kane finally decides to kind of move on. Jude Bellingham.
Well, remember, Jude Bellingham was captain in Borussia Dortmund at a very young age. You know, he's captain in Borussia Dortmund when he was 18 years old. So there's no reason to suggest that he's not ready to captain England when Harry Kane ultimately moves on. But yeah, this is just so exciting because he's such a well-rounded midfielder. And think about the player that he's going to become with players like...
Oh, mate.
Like, imagine him on the training pitch learning from Toni Kroos.
Honestly, it's
like,
going to be
Toni Kroos basically never gives the ball away. You know, he went through that spell, didn't he, Toni Kroos? Which was miraculous, where he basically didn't misplace a pass ever. Learning from him, learning from Camavinga, learning from Tchouaméni. It's going to be a sight to behold.
We have some talent, don't we, in this country? Like, Gareth has some talent at his disposal. I know you like to dig Gareth a lot in terms of winning something. The pressure here is going to be to win something with the talent that we've got.